25 recommendations. This year has not been the best so far, to be honest, and we're only in the first of the month, but I'm starting a new job soon, so that's good. For the yes section, in her shoes, two sisters go on a self-discovery journey, and they have cute shoes in common, and that's about all. Cute little movie based on a novel. Light Shop, a creepy show with a light shop taking place between two planes of existence in the supernatural realm. Some of the stories are actually pretty creepy, and some of the creatures are actually pretty creepy too. Velma. So this is about an old lady getting scammed, and she goes on a quest to get her money back, and it's literally great. It's amazing. 600 Pound Life Season 3. I love this series so much. I've been an active fan of this thing for well over a decade. Fantacle, the catfishing of Tegan and Sarah. I didn't know who Tegan and Sarah were because I feel like they're more, I think they're a band that's more popular in Canada, but their music did sound pretty good, like what they were playing. Seen lots of cases of catfishing, but this is one of the worst cases of catfishing, and I don't think anyone was caught for it yet either. At Wit's End, The Hunt for a Killer, a documentary about a woman's untimely end. The creator. The world building in this was so cool. I think it would be a really cool game. Good sci-fi. Glitter and Greed, the Lisa Frank story. I never really liked Lisa Frank anyways. I wasn't really into that kind of thing, mostly because we couldn't really afford that kind of thing when I was younger, because Lisa Frank stuff was a little pricier than the Walmart generic section. So I never really was able to get it. But finding out all the drama about it, I'll never buy any of that product, ever. The Fall Guy. This is a slight reboot of an older show that I have not seen yet. Little of a plot change. I didn't watch the other show yet, but it's a little older. I think it was like 1985. But I liked this movie a lot, and it was just really fun. Upgraded. A girl upgrades to a different plane area, and romance and life changes ensue because of the upgrade of the plane, if you will. Jerry Springer fights camera action. I was never a big fan of Jerry Springer or his show, but my grandpa really liked it a lot, and my grandpa loved him and Maury, and that's what he used to watch after he watched his judge shows. That's just what he did, so I did watch it quite a bit just because my grandpa was watching it when I was younger. That's where my exposure came from, but still a really cool documentary though. Afraid. The word AI is in it and highlighted. Very clever. Because it's a smart house powered by AI, and of course the AI goes bad. Gentry Chew versus the Underworld. I don't know if this is a graphic novel or a comic book, a webtoon or something, but it gives off the vibes that it is. This is the best thing on this list. The world was amazing. It was just amazing all around. The characters, the art style, the story. It was just done so well. And the animation is so good. Papillon. First off, animation, great. Beautiful. I'm a sucker for 2D animation. The superior animation. Loved everything about the story. It's great. I'm not sure if there will be a continuation or not, but I hope there is. Don't Move. A girl gets paralyzed because a guy that kidnaps her pumps her full of like a drug that paralyzes her body. It's a really scary thing, actually. I'm not even going to attempt to say this, because I don't want to say it wrong. But I watched this because I saw an edit of Pooja on TikTok. But let me tell you, I watched just for her. But this is one of the most dramatically beautiful movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And I mean dramatic in a good way. The story, dramatic. The costumes, dramatic. Everyone's reactions and acting, dramatic. All the dances, dramatic. And all of the costume design, beautiful. The story, the songs, the outfits, set design, just chef's kiss. Beauty Water. I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long time, and I happened to come across it on YouTube, and I didn't know that it was on there. And I was like, oh my goodness. So this is a Korean horror movie, and I think it's based on a web drama, but I might be wrong. There's a girl, and she sees a commercial for this thing called Beauty Water. And she ends up not really believing it too much, but she ends up getting it in the mail, probably for supernatural reasons, when we find out what happens at the end with this guy. So it probably was all like meant to be because he liked her eyes a lot and wanted him for his collection. So you basically soak in the beauty water, and it makes it to where your skin is moldable and can be cut off. So whenever they do use that, she's able to sculpt her face, sculpt her body. It's really cool. It's a really cool concept. Well, of course, this girl gets really greedy, and like she just becomes not a good person because of her wanting to maintain her appearance and her lifestyle. So she becomes a bad person. She might have started off good, but she does become bad and greedy. And while she is in the process of like starting this amazing life, she finds this guy, and the ending is kind of confusing, and I'm not quite sure if he's some kind of Korean like demon or if it's just like a weird horror element. But he has like people's like living like eyes, nose, mouth things on his body, and he really wanted our main character's eyes, and then that's kind of how that worked. So I'm not quite sure why, but it just means like he's the one who fell in love with her because he fell in love with her body, but her eyes. And it's kind of a weird thing. It's all up to interpretation, but very well made. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. So I put this on expecting a really heartfelt, cute story, drama thing about Superman. My favorite Superman, Christopher Reeve, the one I grew up with. And I thought it was going to be something about that. And this was sad. I was crying the entire time. This was about Christopher Reeve's untimely like injury that caused him to become paralyzed, and then everything that came with that and how it affected his family. And that is not what I expected it to be. It was very sad. Oh, it was really sad. But you do learn a lot about the foundation he started, which I had known about his foundation, and I knew about all this stuff. My dad was a really big Christopher Reeve fan because my dad loved Superman. It was one of his favorite movies. So he knew everything about Christopher Reeve's accident. And I remember hearing about it when I was younger. So nothing new to me. I just didn't expect to see so much in-depth into his family. But would recommend it. The Texas Cheerleader Murder Plot. I remember a Tubi movie with this exact like plot, but I guess it might have been inspired by this true story. Which the movie was way worse. The movie, the mom killed a lot of people on the cheer team to become her daughter. It was weird. But this apparently was just a plot to kill her daughter's cheerleading competition, but it never actually happened. It's just such a weird thing. Creature Commandos. This is like Suicide Squad, but they're all monsters. It is a DC property, and it's amazing. And you know me, I'm a sucker for some 2D animation, but this is really done well, drawn well, the characters are really good. It was a really fun idea. My favorite character personally is the Bride. I do love all the characters, but I like the Bride. That's my favorite. I really love it. It was just really cool. So I do hope that they do more of this because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger, so I hope we get more. Now for the mess section, That Night. This takes place, it was either in the 50s or the 60s. But it's about a young girl taking part in her teen neighbor's secret life and in their relationship. And this girl, she's involved in this girl's romance, like kind of on the side, like helping the kids out. And I thought it was a really cool, like, of age story, and it was really well done. It just did drag for a while before the girl got involved. Amber Alert. Dio solves crimes related to an Amber Alert case. Late Night with the Devil. This movie's very unsettling. But well written. It's also kind of confusing. A lot is not explained, and a lot of it, you kind of watch it from the point of, is this real? Is this all part of the hypnosis? It's kind of filmed in a way that you don't really know if it's real, if it's not, or anything like that. And it's done very well. Swamp Thing. So this was something I thought would be really good. You know me and DC shows. I love DC shows. Might not be a big fan of DC movies, but DC shows are usually really good. So I was like, oh my god, I found Swamp Thing. Cool. Yeah, but the Swamp Thing show takes almost a whole series to Swamp Thing. Like, the show has cool ideas, it really does. But Swamp Thing is supposed to be the main focus of his own show, or you would assume, but he's really not. We mostly spend time with the human characters, which human characters are fine, but not in a show where there's a Swamp Thing. I want to know more about the Swamp Thing, and I want to be around him. Last Unicorn. I know this was a book I did not read, but this movie feels like it's missing big chunks of the story. Now, I don't know if that's intentional and if that's how the book was written, but that's how the movie feels. Electra Lux, a movie about an ex-porn star getting into weird situations. I don't even know how I came upon this movie, to be honest with you. I don't know. Outside, this is about a zombie apocalypse, but the weird stuff and the worst things are what's going on inside of the house, because the husband is losing his Wheaties, and it seems more scary like to be in the house with the husband than to be outside with the zombies. So like that's a cool premise. Squid Game season 2. Oh, as y'all know, I loved Squid Games. I loved that show. It was like the first like K-drama that actually got like popular with like the masses, I guess. Like at least to my knowledge, to where it was like getting like merch and stuff in Target and stuff. And I really liked it, but I didn't think that they needed a season 2. I felt like some things don't need continuations, which I try to keep in mind with my own personal writing. For the no section, Bloodshot. So first of all, Vin Diesel should never play a superhero unless they're Groot. It ends with us. So first I'm going to talk about, I don't like either actor, like, because I know there's a big controversy with them, Blake Lively and then the guy actor. I never watched really anything with either of them. I'm not like a super fan of either one of them, so I don't know personally. I'm pretty sure that Blake Lively's the one in the wrong based on the like receipts and stuff I've seen online, but you never really know, right? So I did not read this book. Even I know that this started with a lack of chemistry, and I know it was bad casting that ruined this movie. I didn't even read the book, and I could tell that everything looked wrong. Like, the casting for this wasn't very good, and it didn't make very much sense. You had comedy, people that are like strictly do comedy movies in here playing like serious roles, and then you have people that normally don't do romance doing romance. I'm sure the bad chemistry is because the actors hated each other, but it makes for a really bad movie, and they had the chemistry of a wet peanut shell. Joker 2, I can't say the title because I don't want to upset the French. So, I don't know exactly how to say that, but let's just call it Joker 2. If we can even call it that. This movie with the first movie, because the first Joker was one of my favorite movies that I watched that year. It was amazing. It was a beautiful movie, and it was so well directed and acted and everything and written, and that was a beautiful movie. And I don't even want to connect it with this. And whenever I heard everybody hated it, I like to keep my own, I like to see everything for myself, because there's been movies everyone said were terrible that I was like, it had issues, but it wasn't that bad. But this one, whoa. So it starts off with a Looney Tunes style opening scene, which could work. That's the thing. All of the ideas that they had could have worked, but they did all of the ideas instead of just a couple of them. The problem is all of this stuff felt like it worked with Joker, the character. They just did it wrong. They pushed everything from the other movie out for this new type of movie, and I feel like it could have worked and they had something going, and it would have worked. They just messed it all up. They did everything wrong. They made the wrong choices, and they didn't keep the main character present in the new movie. And that's where they messed up. This whole thing could have worked. You could have literally had exactly the same movie. If you would have just fixed a few things, it would have felt fine. But they didn't, and I'm not quite sure why these choices were made. I don't even know. So, to another month.
Finish him!